So we are, it's 6:33, and we do have a quorum, so I will call the meeting to order. There are no citizens present. If they were, they would be able to make public comments if they chose to do so. The first action item is to take the appropriate action regarding the minutes from our last meeting, which was September 21st, 2022. And so I'll entertain a motion to approve or take, are there changes that need to be made?
I make a motion that we approve those minutes.
Second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Chuck, seconded by Pam. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Moved by Brian.
Oh, you moved by Brian.
Moved
I'm
by
so
Brian.
sorry. Thank you.
I wasn't at that meeting, so.
Okay.
He couldn't respond.
And it's my understanding, after being on council for many years, you can still vote aye
Okay.
if you've read through them and everything, so. Okay. All right, next item is discuss and take appropriate action regarding a recommendation to council to increase the current stray hold period from 3 to 5 days. The current ordinance is section 2.02.001, letter B, and it states that the holding period, such impounded animal shall be held for a period of not more than 3 days if not claimed or surrendered before the 3-day period.
Do we want to maybe push this to the end and get the easy business out of the way? That's no discussion, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, because the others are the next two are super easy.
Okay.
And I don't think anybody has to leave early.
No.
So I had asked about the stray hold, because I feel that sometimes we're under a little bit of pressure, and I'm not exactly sure where that comes from, that once we're starting to get that three-day stray hold, that there is an urgency to get the animal out of the shelter, out of the shelter, out of the shelter. And I know that, shelters around us that are bigger and have more problems than we do, and a lot more dogs that come through than we do, hold them 30, 60, sometimes 90 days if they're a well-behaved dog. And so I just felt like we needed to do something to maybe alleviate some of that pressure. And so I had asked about extending that 3-day hold to 5 days, and kind of reading this, maybe it's just changing the wording altogether, but such impounded animals shall be held for a period of not more than 3 days. Maybe we just need to take out that not more than, because if we have nobody in the shelter,
Right.
and it's a good animal, well-behaved dog, and there's nobody else in there, we shouldn't be under pressure to move that animal out. We should be able to keep that dog until we can do one of two things. Ideally, find the owner. If that's not after 3 days, stray hold, then the action is we post for adoption and or rescue. And so maybe it's not even changing 3 to 5. Maybe it's saying taking out that not more than. Because why are we putting that constraint? Because really the stray hold is really to give the owner the opportunity to come forward. That's what it's meant for. And so maybe it's as simple as taking out that not more than, so that we aren't under that pressure of, okay, 3 days is coming up, they've got to be out, they've got to be out, they've got to be out, when in actuality is, they don't.
So even if it was 5 days, we would still have that
Pressure with
to
that wording.
remove them.
So we would say, shall be held for a period of 3 days, if not claimed or surrendered before the 3-day period. That does make more sense.
Yeah, and then after the 3 days, and it's dogs only. I mean, we can't take in cats because of the way they designed the shelter.
Right.
So after 3 days, the dog will be placed for adoption or rescue.
Right.
Will be put up for adoption or rescue. So maybe that kind of solves it, and maybe that relieves whatever pressure we're getting that 3 days are up, the dog's got to go.
Yeah.
I don't want to, we shouldn't feel like that's like the magic number that they're in for 3 days and then they got to be out.
I
Right.
think a little bit of the pressure comes from, in my mind, we have 2 dog runs. Yes, I have those stainless steel caging, and obviously when we have something small, they go there. But for most of our dogs, they're the 30 to 60 pounders. So I see in my mind we have 2 dog runs. So I've got that stray dog. Come that 3rd day, ideally, yes, let's see if we can get it to rescue, get it. I kind of put pressure on myself because I think if I get another stray dog, now I'm full. And I used to own a shelter where we were full most of the time. And I know what the results of some of that led to. I don't want to ever do that ever again.
Yep.
If you get my meaning.
Yep.
So, but I do, this ordinance was actually written and instilled so long ago, back when Trophy Club did not have a true shelter, and animals were transferred to Grapevine. And they were transferred after that 3rd day. Just automatically, they're out of here, they're going to Grapevine. And whatever Grapevine did, Grapevine did. So I think that's where that not more than comes from. I agree, we certainly don't need it.
And I think I think the wording, the wording on the state ordinance is stray hold.
Right.
Right, so.
Not owner surrender.
Correct.
And not if you know the owner died, then it's not a stray.
That is correct.
And
Because a stray hold is to give time for the owner to claim
come
the
forward,
animal.
so maybe it's changing it,
It's a 72 hour
shall be held.
state mandated hold or whatever they call it.
What's your calendar days, right?
well, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
It
Calendar?
is.
For-
70,
So maybe it's
72
changing it to, stray hold for 72 hours. Shall be
Instead of 3 days.
on
It's
stray hold
72
for
hours.
72 hours. For a period of 72 hours, and remove the not more than 3 days. And then, the next sentence would be, if not claimed, or,
Or surrendered before the 72 hours. Right.
no, if not
Or
claimed, or,
adopted.
right, if not, adopted or pulled,
Well, you couldn't adopt during that time.
right. So such impounded animal shall be on stray hold for 72 hours. If not claimed, and we can say the dog, can be adopted or pulled by a 501c3 rescue.
Okay.
So let me read all my scribbles. Holding period. Such animal shall be on stray hold for 72 hours. If the dog is not reclaimed, it can be adopted or pulled by a 501c3 rescue. And I'm trying to think of another word for pulled. The general public is not going to.
Transferred.
Transferred.
That's what I used a lot.
Yeah, that sounds better.
Okay. All right. Such impound, I'll do the first sentence, so now input please, because you guys, so such impounded animal shall be on stray hold for 72 hours.
Should it be up to 72 hours? Like, what if the owner comes before that 72 hours? Or does it not matter?
When they're on stray hold, the owner can,
They
the
can
owner can
reclaim.
reclaim any time within those 72 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had an owner show up 30 minutes after I bring the dog in. Please, here, take it.
And also, we have to keep in mind that this, we have to make a motion to adopt this ordinance and forward it to the
Yeah, it's to go to
council, and we
council. Yeah,
don't
it's to go
want
to
the council to like have this.
Yeah, with council a
convoluted.
little too much is
Yes.
not good.
Right.
They
And
need-
I'll be there
they need
to
simple.
walk them through it.
Yes, yeah, you're our,
I'll be there. Okay, so such impounded animal shall be on stray hold for 72 hours. Because stray hold, I think in the definitions, it says what stray hold is.
Yes.
Okay,
It
so I think
does.
we're good there. I didn't bring the definitions with me.
And there's a letter C after this that does talk about the animal maybe placed for adoption,
Oh, it does?
transfer to rescue, yes. So I will review and make sure that I believe there's a C. I will double check that.
Okay.
Because if there's a C, then we could just end
Are we
it
able to
with
pull that
this.
up
Let
real
me see
quick?
if I can pull it up.
Yeah, because if we have to approve what we're sending to council.
I read these ordinances 1,000 times and you should know them. There's a lot in there.
Chuck, do you have any, what's your opinion? Just,
I'm fine with what I'm hearing.
all right.
I mean, I get the concern on both sides. I think we have to be cognizant of that. You know, that we have to make sure we have volunteers to care for the animal
Bones ring.
during that time.
Agreed,
But
but, you know, I
as
don't
long
know
as we
about the rest of
do-
you, but I'm not in a huge hurry to get rid of a dog. Because I'd rather be personally responsible, us, for their care while they're in our possession. Because we know that's gonna be good.
And we have had dogs. Remember Red? We had Red
Right.
for
2 weeks.
weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
So, as long as we have someone to care for the dog. And Brian and Dr. Bemis, the 4 small kennels that we have, isn't there a divider in there?
Well, I have
that
a
we can
divider.
make
Yeah.
a bigger
Yes.
kennel?
Yeah,
So
so
we, I mean, I understand the concern that if we've got 2 dogs in there and we get another one, because it's happening, I see that more and more. I mean, looking at the report, there's more and more dogs every day.
right,
It's not gonna get better.
no,
So
more people,
we
more
have to be
animals.
cognizant of that, and what do we do? We can't put that in the ordinance, but we as a board or as a shelter, what do we do in that case to make sure that we can accommodate, you know? But that should be the pressure point, I guess.
Have we been in a situation where we've had more than 2 at one time?
More than 2, no.
Not yet,
I know
Yeah.
we've had 2.
but it could happen. I mean, it probably will happen.
Yeah, at
And
some
that
point.
makes it interesting when both dogs soil their dog run.
Ugh.
And you have 2 dogs that come from different areas, they're 2 separate strays, they don't come in together. Then, from a safety standpoint and sanitation standpoint, you don't walk them together.
Right.
You can't put them both out in the backyard and let them have a fun time while we go and clean. So it just puts an extra dynamic on, okay.
Yep.
On the how.
Yeah, when I was volunteering for HSNT, someone would walk the dogs while
While
another
someone
person
cleans.
cleaned. Yeah.
Now, in
and then
situations
swap.
like that, we would have, you could have you and Karen come together and tag team.
Yeah.
We could have 2 people.
How are we doing on volunteers?
I've not had any,
We need more.
I've not had any new volunteers.
How many do we have right now that can do shelter duty?
It's still you
You and Karen.
and us and Karen.
I mean, I do
Yeah.
some things,
No, I
but
understand.
I can't do any
can't do big
big
dogs.
dogs.
I get it.
But
Ideally, I would love 2 more.
Okay.
Thought we
That
had
would
some
be-
applicants.
are we looking at impoundment? Is that where it is, Brian?
It's
Look-
2.02.001.
Yes.
You're a better woman than me to bring that up. Okay. So C reads,
Okay.
sorry. C reads, disposition of unclaimed animals. At the end of such period, if the animal has not been claimed and the fees associated with the impoundment have not been paid to the town, the animal is deemed the property of the town and may be placed up for adoption by the town or euthanized as determined by the local rabies control authority.
And that is standard wording amongst
Yeah.
most all shelters.
And then it goes into protective custody.
Right.
I think we only had 2 of those.
We had about, I think, 2 of those.
And then, surrender.
Right.
So I think that so let me ask you, Brian, in the current reading, if it says if not claimed or surrendered, so if somebody comes in and says, I can't take them back, is that considered a surrender?
That would be a surrender.
Okay. And they'd have to pay a fee. Technically.
Yeah, if they're surrendering, they need to be paying.
Right.
Yeah.
$50 fee.
Yeah. So let's see. What's the best way to do this?
So really, we're only discussing B. We can't
Correct.
discuss and change
Cor-
C.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No,
I know.
I'm not looking at changing C.
Okay.
I'm looking at
How to word
how,
B.
how to word B.
Correct. Yes, now that we know that C reads, then we could actually take some stuff out of the end of B, so it's not redundant.
Yep.
And I think if we do this, we need to have some kind of a contingency plan that if we do get 3 dogs or whatever, what are we gonna do? It doesn't have to be in the ordinance, but what are we
What
gonna
the
do?
plan is.
No,
Yep.
we would need a foster to step up pretty quick, somehow, some way.
The shelters are all really, really full,
The
and
shelters are really, really, really
we don't
full.
wanna send a dog to be, pretty much be euthanized.
Most shelters are not doing that, and that's the reason why many are so.
Yeah, I know they're not doing it as much as they used
Oh, no.
to.
Fort Worth is euthanizing 30 to 40 a day.
Full work.
Well, that's Fort Worth.
And
though.
Dallas.
I
And Dallas.
think that's a whole
Yeah.
other ballgame.
Yeah.
That's not the shelters around here.
So I think some of this is punctuation.
Could be, yeah, right, I see that.
All right, so such impounded animals shall be held for a period of not more than 5 days. Period.
We can work on the wording, the exact wording and whatever.
Well, we have to do that tonight and vote on it to send it to council. Otherwise, it's
Oh,
another 3
because,
months.
okay, so we're gonna do it now.
Because we only meet
Might be
quarterly.
burning the midnight oil. Get out of here
Yeah,
at
we have-
7:10.
Can't we have another meeting?
We could have another meeting, yes.
Yes.
I know. Go ahead.
30 days.
And send your recommendations
Yeah.
in, and then we can talk about them.
Yeah.
I have no problem doing that. The requirement is we have to meet 4 times a year. It doesn't say we can't meet more than 4 times a year.
No, and we don't wanna meet more
We-
than necessary.
Correct.
We have to meet at least 3 times a week,
At least
We can meet
minimum of
more.
3.
Right.
at least 3. And this is technically the 3rd meeting for 2022,
Okay.
even though we're in 23.
Okay.
But we don't wanna waste resources either.
Yep.
So,
So let's do that. Let's reconvene in 30 days. Everybody take a look at the ordinance, and it says in the minutes, 2.02.001. And that's the impoundment of animals at large. So we intended to take a look at a lot of these anyway, this year. So let's just take a full look at all of that. So A, B, C, D, E, F. I know we looked at the surrender stuff before, but let's take a look at, just that section. It's not that
Okay.
long. And, send recommendations to Brian so that he can include them in the packet. Now, just remember, when you send them in, only send them to Brian. Don't send to the whole
Right.
committee, because that's a violation. That's like agreeing to what we're gonna say before the meeting. Can't do that. So send your recommendations in separately to Brian. He'll compile them and put them in the
Compile
agenda
them.
packet.
And I won't put, Pam said this, Charlie said this. I won't do that.
Yeah.
We'll put them all there.
Here's the
And
suggestions,
then
we can talk about it.
cause I think you pretty much have what we're gonna do. A lot of these ordinances, I think they're really good to read, like for our newer member.
Yeah.
and again, some are very old.
There's a
Like
lot of,
this.
there's
Yeah.
a lot of things in there. Most of them pertain to me. They mostly pertain to police department business, which is not under our purvey here, but, I think it's good just to know some of these things. I learned a lot from reading them.
All right, so I will entertain a motion to, table this to the next meeting. So I need a motion and a second, and then we can vote on it.
Has the motion been made?
No, that's what, I need a motion to table to the next meeting,
I'll make the motion to table to the next meeting.
and a second.
I'll second.
Is that Dr. Bemis?
I think you pretty much have it down there.
Yeah,
I think
I'll
we
work
all
on it.
pretty much agree. It's just.
and all those in favor of moving it to the next meeting, tabling the next meeting?
Aye.
Aye, okay, good, unanimous. All right, so next item, thanks guys, I appreciate it. Review and accept the state shelter inspection performed by Dr. Brooke Bemis on September 21st, 2022. So did we pass with flying colors?
We
Yes.
did pass with flying.
Satisfactory.
Yep.
Excellent.
This was Dr. Bemis's first inspection that she's done with us, and
Excellent.
I
Hopefully
thought,
it's the
did it take you
easiest.
3 minutes or 5 minutes? I kind of lost count.
Yeah, 5 minutes probably.
Yeah. Very good.
This next
Our
one.
work here is done.
So, we'll entertain a motion to accept the state shelter inspection.
Motion to accept.
In a second?
Second.
Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so accepted. And next item is to receive an update from Officer Hall regarding impound and pet registration numbers.
All right, and this does go over to the second page for our pet registrations.
Okay,
But for our past year, 2022, we took in 10 more dogs than we did in the prior year, so a total of 24. Again, we had 20 claimed by owner, and again, many of those situations, owners showed up same day or the next day. Folks around here are really very, very good. When they know Fido's missing, they're quick to call, they're quick to post, and that's my biggest friend right there.
one good thing about Facebook.
It's amazing. We had 2 of those dogs get adopted. One got adopted by one of our police officers. We had a German Shepherd puppy.
Where is he? She.
She
Was supposed to be here.
her name is Remy. Yeah,
She was
I know. I
supposed to
told
be
him you need to bring her up here. She weighs 70 pounds now.
Really?
Holy
No.
smokes!
70
Oh
pounds.
my God.
She has
Awesome.
gotten so big
Well,
so
her
quick.
paws were,
Yes,
Just get a picture for the next
I
meeting.
will do.
Yes, at least
Yeah.
the picture.
I will do that. All right, and then one transferred to rescue. And then unfortunately, we had the one dog that got euthanized. This was a stray, pure pit bull terrier that came in, absolutely scared to death. And I was working on befriending him. This was day 2, so we hadn't made it to the 3rd day yet. And I was outside with the dog, actually playing ball with it. Things were going wonderful. And one of our police officers came out. The dog allowed him to pet it, and he threw the ball for the dog and then sat down next to me. The dog came up and went right for his throat. It was the most horrific thing that I've seen probably about 20 years. As he went from Jekyll to Hyde that quickly, and I could not get him off that officer. And the officer sustained multiple bites, had to be taken to the emergency room, and of course, stray, no vaccination history. So we had to send him off for rabies testing.
Is he okay? The
Officer's okay. He fortunately, when the dog leapt for his throat, he turned his head quickly enough. Teeth got him in the nose and right above his eye. And I pulled, because I'm sitting right next to him, I'm just shocked. I pulled the dog off, and the officer stood up and tried to scramble up, and the dog then grabbed his inner thigh and crunched down. And he screamed. I am choking the dog. I'm trying to pull the dog. He's locked his jaw. And that bite missed his femoral. And even after I got the dog off him, the dog was still intent. It wasn't until I had to get between the officer and the dog to make him yield, make him stop. And the officer got inside to safety, and now I'm out here by myself. I have no catch pole. I have a leash. But I kept telling him, no, no, no. And finally he settled down, and he dropped his head like, oh, I've been a bad boy. And I put him on his leash, and we went back in. But the unpredictability of animals, that was really what showed that day. And unfortunately, the cameras that work out back were not working that day, because I was hoping I would have had that on camera so that we could use that as a teaching tool to show people this is what a dog looks like when he's just all happy-go-lucky, and then can change just like that. It was horrific. So unfortunately, there's that record, which I hate to report. But
Yep. But that is the first one since 2012, I believe.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pet registration's almost 60. That is about 15 more than the prior year, so I'm seeing pet
Okay.
registrations go up, which I really love.
Well, every time there's a stray that I post, and I'm involved with them getting reunited, I send them, I go, do you have the free
Right,
count
free.
tag? And I send them the link to register Rover, and so hopefully that's, getting
Yes,
some folks.
maybe that's what's getting more going on there.
That's good.
I guess I'm gonna have to do that.
Oh, it's free.
It's free.
It's
I
free.
will bring you your tag right to you.
That's right. Tags are delivered.
Mine dogs are
That should be in the
don't go anywhere, unfortunately. They're
But there's
spinal cord injured dogs, so.
yeah, but
We all
like
know
I
their
couldn't believe that
dogs.
Frenchie that got out this past week.
Oh, I was watching that. I was
No
like,
collar,
nobody
no
claims a dog.
tags, no
I'm taking
check.
that dog. Oh my gosh.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
that dog would be on Craigslist in
Yeah.
a
In a heartbeat.
nanosecond
Beautiful.
for
Yeah.
one blue eye.
Yes.
I mean, it was highly.
I know. Mark was like, Dina keeps rolling. No more Frenchies.
But anyway, so good numbers, and we'll keep working on that. Getting more of the registrations. But some of that probably was from Pet Fest too, though, right?
We had a bigger
did.
pet fest.
Bigger Pet
More
Fest.
people.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So those are all of the items, and with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Hi.
All right.